and welcome back to Coffee and Careers with Shivani, your favorite pit stop for real stories, bold insights, and authentic conversations that shape the world of work. I'm your host, Shivani, and today's episode brings someone truly special to the table. A leader who wears many hats with effortless ease, a corporate executive, a TEDx speaker, a poet, an author, and a thought leader in the HR universe. Please join me in welcoming one of the most respected HR professionals in our country, Mr. Harjeet Khanduja. Harjeet is currently the Senior Vice President of HR at Reliance Jio and comes with a stellar career spanning industries like manufacturing, IT, telecom, and consulting. He has worked across global markets and brings a rare blend of strategic thinking and poetic storytelling to the HR world. He's also the author of the much loved book, How Leaders Decide, and his ability to blend humor, insight, and simplicity, especially in his anecdotes from day to day life experiences, have made him a very favorite speaker at national and international forums. Harjeet, it's an absolute honor and privilege to have you here with us on Coffee and Careers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you so much for saying so many good things about me.
It's all true, and it's all. I think each word that I said is totally 100%. Worthy of what you've achieved and of your career so far. So, Harjeet, we'll start with your style of communication, especially on social media, is more like short stories. It's storytelling, and it's storytelling in the right format because anybody can understand it. It is so simple. When I run workshops on communication, I give your example. I tell people that unless and until your the message that you're trying to give is not understood by the junior most people in your organization, your purpose is not achieved. So, and I give them your example, and I go, in fact, I share screenshots of your posts on LinkedIn, and I'd urge our viewers today to actually go on LinkedIn profile of Harjeet and see how beautifully the life lessons, corporate lessons, and just simple day to day takeaways from life, how beautifully they are weaved into simple stories of an Uber driver, of a couple, and it is so easy to understand. So, Harjeet, your storytelling has almost become a genre in itself, which is witty, which is thought provoking. So, how did you discover your voice as a storyteller? And what does storytelling to you mean as a leader? Because it's the buzzword these days, and you personify it really well. So, what does it mean to you?
I did not start for that. Like you said, simplicity has always been my goal.
Right.
So, once somebody asked me, why do you tell stories? You can say whatever you want to say just like that. So, I asked that person, do you prefer a pill for, say, a vitamin pill for nutrients, or you want to have food? The
Okay.
person said, food is always better
Hmm.
because it has flavor, it has aroma, it has taste, uh, and it has sizzle.
Yeah.
So he said, same is true with storytelling. I
Right.
can tell you it is like a vitamin pill. Okay, take this,
Hmm.
or I can weave it like a story. So, and once I started telling stories, then I read about that. What is this art about?
Hmm.
And I realized बचपन में there used to be नानी की story.
Ji.
Our human beings have passed on their wisdom through stories. Earlier, there were no writing tools or books or anything.
Right.
So, storytelling is something which is embedded in our DNA. So,
Right.
if somebody tells a story, you remember it longer. because for generations we have been doing this.
Yeah,
So if you are in any leadership role, then it is better to learn how to tell stories and how to put across your point so that people can remember it.
absolutely. In fact, the Nani ki kahani that you said, I think a lot of us would remember the life lessons that we learned from those stories just because they were told in the form of a story. And that's how I think that's a very valid point that whatever we learn, through storytelling stays with us. And you made a absolutely brilliant point that if you're a leader, you need to really learn the art of storytelling. But how does one do that? I'm sure a lot of people today, I mean, I run storytelling workshops, and, corporates across the table have, started focusing so much on storytelling in leadership. So, what is your advice? How can a leader start on this journey of narrating, their experiences or whatever they want to convey through stories? ये journey कैसे start करें?
Look, how I started was I remember I was at a Ganpati Puja,
Okay,
uh, and I met a person who was into movies,
okay.
so who was a script writer in movies. And I asked him, means, how do you write a movie?
Hmm.
He said, everyday instances, whenever they happen, I note them down.
Hmm.
And uh, I said, how does that count?
Hmm.
He said, movie is not a story. There are only three, four stories which are there.
Hmm.
It is these instances, uh,
Right,
daily life incidences which people can connect with that make a movie great,
right.
not just the story. So, how you weave the story depends upon what is happening in your life. And whatever happens in your life happens in lives of almost everyone.
Very true. Yeah,
So, um, that person actually gave me a hint that this is how you write stories.
right.
There is a complete art of writing
Yeah,
stories or
yeah.
weaving stories. And right now, data storytelling is something which is um becoming a trend or which is essential for leaders. Uh, but that is a longer discussion. That itself is a 3 hour discussion. That
Yes,
how to write stories, and there is a method to it. But as I said, that was the piece that pick up lessons from your daily life.
right.
I just sit back every day, uh, look at what is happening in my life and what has happened yesterday, which was interesting, and pick that up.
Right. Right. And is that how the posts that we see every day, almost every day on LinkedIn, the simple posts that come with a very powerful lesson. Is that how that happens? You convert your everyday experiences into something that you've personally learned out of. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, yeah, that's how I do it. But I have got a hack to it.
Hmm.
Now, suppose you are with someone. Yeah, suppose I talk to a Uber driver.
Hmm.
So that Uber driver will tell you a story uh, of his or her life,
Yeah.
and maybe you will get five, six lessons out of it.
Right.
So I write down all those five, six lessons,
Awesome.
and maybe next day or next to next day, you don't get a story in your life, something interesting did not happen. So you can use those nuggets. So I have kind of right now a list of more than 300 stories
Wow.
which I could pick from. So I try to search everyday's life. Suppose if yesterday nothing happened, which was so interesting.
Hmm.
So I was in Indore, and there I was interacting with a ER guy,
Hmm.
and he was talking about कि अच्छा, when somebody absconds
Hmm.
or is not coming to office,
Yeah.
what do you guys do? And one of the person who was standing next to me said, we send that person a warning letter or
Hmm.
a caution letter or report back letter. So he said, how I do it is I go and visit that person. मैं
Okay.
उसके घर चाय पी के आता हूँ.
Wow.
And suddenly it struck,
Yeah.
mm, this is something how you should be doing HR
Yes.
rather than sending letter, because letter was supposed to be the last resort.
Right.
You have to find out what the issue is.
True.
So today I was surfing, and I was looking through my life that, okay, what happened yesterday? I could not find anything. Then I realized, okay, this was the story. So today I wrote that story.
How awesome is that? Um, that's one story, but that has a very powerful lesson that we're with the coming of AI and ML. I think the human touch, the human part is reducing gradually. But there are certain areas like the one that you just said where it is absolutely not replaceable. The human element in human resources. Superb. And I think one of the key takeaways for our listeners and our viewers today is that you don't really need to, a lot of people have this a kind of a mental barrier that I want to post on LinkedIn, but I don't know what to post. I don't have enough. I should post something very intellectual. And this is a genuine problem that I've heard people saying कि मेरे पास कुछ ना पोस्ट करने के लिए नहीं है, मैं क्या पोस्ट करूं, कुछ इंटेलेक्चुअल लगना चाहिए, कुछ थॉट लीडरशिप जैसा लगना चाहिए. बट I think what you've said today is absolutely the opposite of that. That you can actually write on social media by crafting simple small stories from your everyday experiences. If you note them down and you reflect on the learnings, I think that's a very, very powerful takeaway. Thank you for sharing that. um, you just talked about the human element in HR. So I'm going to ask you a question on that. In one of your talks, you'd mentioned that HR is about managing energy and not people. So how has that belief evolved, through your work across different sectors and organizations that you've been a part of?
Look, since our childhood, there was there was a subject called mathematics. I believe it is still there.
Yes.
In,
Much to a lot of people's dismay, it's still there.
uh, so in that subject, we were told that if 10 people make a wall in 5 days, then 5 people make that wall in how many days?
Hmm.
So that whole thing actually converted that people are like resources.
Right.
And this is a mathematical calculation that if there are 5 people, you are going to take 10 days.
Right.
Maybe those 5 people also can make the wall in 5 days only, or maybe one day.
Right.
It depends upon how you treat them, how you motivate them, how you bring their energy together. So, human resource is a profession where you actually manage energy of people.
Hmm.
If you treat them like resources, you know what the outcome you're going to get.
True. Yeah.
If you treat them badly, maybe for 20 days your wall will not get
That's
will not get built.
yeah, or even more. Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole thing depends upon how you take care of your people, how you motivate them, how you align them to the objective. People can do impossible.
Right.
So anyone is stepping into HR function must know that it is about managing energy of people. So taking care of each and every person is something which is very, very important, and not only for HR people. For all the managers, this is something which is very, very important.
Absolutely. Wow, you brought in a mathematical tinge to a very artsy subject like human resources. And this is so profound for people who are in HR. I think we still if we ask an HR professional, what do you do? They'll say, I manage people. But I think it's time for this transition that you said, that I don't manage people, I manage energies. What a beautiful way to express the beauty of the HR function. And you're so right. You gave an example of the wall, and rightly so. You treat people well, you motivate them, you respect them. I think in today's time, respect at any level is paramount. People no longer just work for the money. It's the culture, it's a respect that they command at the workplace, or they expect at the workplace. And to your example, if it is missing, you may never see the wall at all. So, it's very important to manage the energies, and I think that's a beautiful takeaway for our listeners today. I'll ask you a related question. On since we're talking about HR and people and managing energies, I'll ask you a question on culture. So you've said that, in one of your talks again, that culture is what people do when nobody's watching. So what's that one small or, invisible cultural habit that you've silently nudged in your teams that has made a big difference over time?
So, look, one thing which I have built in my team is, or whosoever I interact with,
Hmm.
uh, I tell them try to be world class.
Hmm.
And world class means if you think that I want to be the best in the world, and I have learned it from one of my bosses only, so I will give due credit to him. He only taught me, जो कुछ भी करो, it has to be the best in the world. And that is something which I pass on. Uh, and SRK is another thing which I recommend or which I try to embed. SRK is service, respect, respect you were talking about, service, respect, and knowledge.
Okay.
So if you are in a profession, you should know what this profession is all about. You should be so knowledgeable that people come to you. You should respect people, treat everyone with respect so that you are approachable, and try to have a service mindset so that either you are servicing your customers, internal or external. So then you will never be arrogant. You will listen to people
Hmm.
and you will create value for people. And that's how you will become world class, just like SRK.
Excellent. Excellent. In fact, SRK, a lot of us would, in fact, I also thought you're talking about Shah Rukh Khan, but this is a new SRK, which is service, respect, and knowledge. And this is a beautiful analogy again, because I think you've captured all the ingredients very well. So respect for people, knowing, being the master of your craft, which is knowledge, knowing your industry very well inside out, and being seen as a thought leader. And most importantly, the service, या जिसको हम सेवा भाव कहते हैं, it's not always what's in it for me. It's about how I can create value for all my stakeholders. I think that's again a brilliant takeaway from this. But you also once said that HR policies are, like traffic signals, and we notice them only when they stop us. So in your career, when did a similar kind of a red light moment teach you the most, especially about, policies that are there, but more as pit stops rather than enablers? Any reference point to that?
You have studied me a lot. You are asking questions that once you said that, once you wrote this.
Because
Okay.
you said very unusual things. People usually say things which are, run of the mill, but you've said things that really, force someone to think, reflect, and see the sense in it. So that is why I'm very
Hmm.
curious to know.
So I will tell you an incident which actually brought me back to earth. So that incident was I every day used to go to office. So my time was set 9 o'clock,
Hmm.
and the auto guy will come. I will sit in the auto and we will go to office. And that's how the life was going on.
Hmm.
One day I had to go at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I sent him a SMS in the night, please come at 8 o'clock. Next day morning, 8 o'clock, I am there. That auto guy is not there.
Okay.
And So finally, I arranged something. I went to office. Next day, again, I meet him at 9 o'clock, and I said, I sent you a office. I sent you a SMS that
Hmm.
come at 8 o'clock. You did not come.
Hmm.
He said, Sir, अगर SMS पढ़ पाता
Hmm.
तो
Hmm.
ऑटो थोड़ी चलाता. So I felt sorry for him that, oh, this guy could not study and that's so bad.
Yeah.
And then he said, Sir, you could have sent the voice SMS.
Hmm.
And then I felt sorry for myself.
Yeah.
That I have stopped learning.
Yeah.
Life around me or environment around me is changing. And if I stop learning,
Gee.
then I will have problem in coping up with the environment.
Very.
So that was a reminder
Gee.
that one has to keep learning throughout one's journey. And it was a good reminder.
You know, Harjeet, the people who've come on my show, everybody has talked about, upskilling, keeping yourself relevant, continuously learning. लेकिन इतनी simplicity से ऐसे ऐसे एग्जाम्पल के साथ मैं फर्स्ट टाइम सुन रही हूँ. And I'm sure a lot of listeners are also, hearing this for the first time, that from such a simple incident, wherein it's a conversation with an auto driver. You can reinforce the concept of continuous learning. I think that's the signature style of Harjeet, and compliments to you for that. But ye kaise hua? How did, so from HR to being a poet to being an author, how do you manage to wear so many caps? What's the mantra? Because people who are in full-time jobs, and this is a very very common question. A lot of people say that मेरे पास time नहीं, पूरा दिन job में निकल जाता है, and so there's no time to pursue a lot of other things. So how do you do? How, first of all, how did this happen? This transition from an HR person to an author to a poet, and secondly, how do you find the time to do all of this, and like you said, being world class at everything? So how do you do it?
Look, if something is your passion, then you find time. And another thing is, suppose you are doing something and people start telling you that you are doing good,
Yeah.
then you want to do it even more.
Yeah.
So I started writing stories. I was writing stories on and off on LinkedIn.
Okay.
A response was coming, then sometime response was not coming. So it was not that people were gung ho about the storytelling.
Right.
One day I was sitting in the canteen and a lady came and she asked me, "Are you Harjeet Khanduja?" And this is long back I'm talking about.
Hmm.
So I said, "Yes." And she said, "You know, you wrote a story about roti,
Hmm.
that when to flip the roti.
Hmm.
That actually changed my life."
Wow.
And like somebody coming and telling you that you wrote something that changed somebody's life. So I realized that maybe whatever I am doing, uh, I might be thinking that, okay, it is for fun, or maybe I am getting a good response.
Hmm.
I realized that it is a responsibility, and if you can make difference to even one person's life by saying something like this, so you should keep doing that, and you should keep doing that responsibly.
Absolutely.
And that was the reason I continued writing. So, how do I find time? Look, every day I travel from home to office. There are 30 minutes. So I have kept those 30 minutes for writing stories. So that is my time for writing a story. If someday I miss that, then
Hmm.
that day there is no story on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
that's why there are no stories on Saturdays and Sundays, because that time is
Okay.
not there.
Okay.
And uh, my wife has been very supportive as far
Hmm.
as books are concerned. So
Hmm.
I write at night.
Okay.
Uh, so every day, uh, approximately 1 to 2 hours, depending upon how the energy level is, I
Okay.
spend on writing. And I've been, uh, and that's how I've been finding time. So,
Okay. Great. So again, this is a takeaway for people that if you're really passionate about something and you really want to do something, you will always find the time for it. And it's this is, I think, real smart time management because you're utilizing the time that you're traveling and you utilize the time, when you come back home. So for people who are looking at pursuing their passion, maybe a little bit of less of scrolling the reels and more of doing what you really love to do or investing in your passion, investing time in your passion. I think that would really help. And Harjeet is a living example with such a senior role, and that too in a complex function like HR, still managing to write stories on LinkedIn, write books. I'm sure you write poetry as well. So I think it's something that the younger generation can really learn from you, Harjeet, today. Coming to the books that you have written, you've authored, a lot of books like HR Mastermind, Nothing About Business. So my question is, what inspired you to venture into book writing? And more importantly, how do you decide that what are the themes that you're going to be exploring in your books?
Nick, this was a childhood dream. I
Hmm.
was born in a house which was full of books.
Okay.
So I was reading books, and then I wanted to write a book.
Hmm.
Now, thing is, I was not finding time.
Hmm.
And second is, when I wrote a book in
Hmm.
2012, I started writing stories, and I compiled 50 stories and wrote a book. Then I was
Hmm.
after publishers, okay, please publish, please publish. Nobody was interested in publishing. Then I
Okay.
realized it doesn't work that way that you write a book and go to publisher. Basically, you
Okay.
go to publisher, find out
Okay.
what is that they're looking for.
Hmm.
And when you discuss with them, they come up with certain topics that this is what we are looking for.
Okay.
And depending upon whether you have expertise in that area or not, you
Hmm.
choose which topic you want to write on.
Hmm.
So if anyone says, okay, in market there is a gap, there is no good book on uh, a particular subject, like
Hmm.
decision making. When I
Hmm.
was discussing with Sage, they said decision making is something we are interested in. We don't
Hmm.
have a book on decision making.
Okay.
So can you write something on decision making? I said, yeah,
Hmm.
leadership is something which is my forte. So
Right.
I will be able to write on decision making. And I used to think that I know a lot about decision making, but when I started writing, I had to read a lot. So
Right.
then I learned also in that process, and I wrote a good book. And a lot of people who have read that book
Hmm.
appreciate, and I still get personal notes from people that this is something which was very good. And in fact,
Awesome.
second publisher,
Hmm.
the publisher of my uh,
Hmm.
second book or third book,
Hmm.
Zebra Learn.
Hmm.
So he actually, uh, when we went into an agreement, I gifted him that book. I said,
Hmm.
I did not think that publisher will read that book.
Hmm.
He actually gone through the entire book. He made notes, and then he said, "Okay, we discuss your book in our meetings, and I apply it in my business." No, this
Wow.
was so good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this this is what this book was supposed to achieve,
Yeah.
and it has achieved.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people face difficulty when it comes to publishing the first book, and then once people read your style, you get a good response in the subsequent books. But that's a good advice that you gave, that for anybody wanting to start writing, also know what's the, the publisher or the market or your readers are looking for. That's a good strategy. And then follow it up with, I'm sure today whatever book you write would get published, because there is a certain credibility that comes with your name as an author. So again,
Nothing like that. Nothing like that. So don't get confused. Getting the second book is as difficult as your first book. Thing is, you
is
know the
it?
process. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You know the process. You know the formats.
Hmm.
This is what publishers will be looking for. And it is not that they don't tell the process. They tell the
Okay.
process upfront. Thing is, you
Hmm.
don't believe it.
Okay.
That write two chapters, send
Ah.
topics,
Ah.
discussions. If you follow the process, it happens.
Okay.
I tried it multiple ways. No
Okay.
connections work. Uh,
Okay.
it is how the market is responding and how you are writing and approaching the subject.
Okay. Okay. So what's the one tip that you would like to give to somebody who's wanting to start who's wanting to start their writing journey? Because a lot of people do want to get into writing books, but don't know where to start. So एक कोई tip आपका जो कि which works like a रामबाण maybe.
Neer, first is write down what are the topics you think you are knowledgeable on
जी.
and uh, write down a list of topics. And then
हम्म.
go to LinkedIn,
हम्म.
find people who are uh, into publishing, the managing editors,
हम्म.
and start bouncing your ideas to managing editors of different publishing house. Don't restrict
हम्म.
to one or two publishing
हम्म.
houses.
हम्म.
Write to them that this is what my expertise in is, and this is what I want to write about. In case you are interested in any of these topics, then
हम्म.
I can write two chapters and submit it to you.
Right.
So out of the 10 people you write to, two people will respond back.
हम्म.
And then how do you take the conversation forward is totally
Yeah.
up to you.
Great. So I think this part of the podcast people can, save or, write down, because nobody tells you this. And
Hmm.
this is the beauty of a person so comfortable in their skin that they would want to share, the knowledge with the world. Thank you for doing that, Harjeet. One career advice for the younger generation today.
Follow your passion. In our times, it was not possible, but
Hmm.
now it is possible. Whatever your passion is, then you will be very successful in your profession or career or whatever you want to do.
Hmm.
So
So follow your
follow your path.
passion.
Yep.
Hmm. Superb. And one last question, Harjeet. So if you were to, narrate your life's journey in a poetic way, कुछ भी जो आपने लिखा हो, how would you narrate that?
Poetry, actually, uh, we have a very senior HR person called Mr. S.V. Nathan.
Hmm.
So एक
Yes.
बार he was talking in a seminar and I picked up that story. It was a wonderful story. So he said once a potter was making a pot.
Hmm.
So he took the clay and uh, put the and they have a wheel.
Yeah.
So he had put the clay on the wheel
Hmm.
and he was thinking, I will make a hookah.
Hmm.
So he started making the hookah. Then his wife called from inside
Hmm.
and said, why are you making a hookah? Why don't you make a pot?
Hmm.
So uh, Potter said, okay, went to the clay and started making a pot. So the
Hmm.
clay asked,
Hmm.
you were making me a hookah, now you are making me a pot.
Hmm.
Why, why are you doing that? I said, somebody advised me to do that.
Hmm.
and you will have a good life being a pot. And he
Okay.
said that HR person is the wife of the potter
Hmm.
who can change anyone's life
Wow.
for good. So it is a
Awesome.
power as well as a responsibility. And I believe
Very
that
true.
story is something which sums up life of all the HR people.
Yes. Yes. How beautiful is that?
Hmm.
Um, Again, your signature style of storytelling, even though the story was narrated by somebody else, but how beautifully you've woven it into making HR sound, something other than what usually people say it is. But it is so true. HR is not just power, it is a whole lot of responsibility as well. And I think people who understand that fine line and who respect that balance are the ones who become really successful HR professionals. Thank you for sharing that. And
Pleasure.
just like that, with a dash of data, a spoonful of satire, and a whole lot of soul, we come to the end of yet another power packed episode. Harjeet, thank you for bringing your signature style of brilliance and banter to our podcast. Um, Thanks for reminding us that HR isn't just about policies, it's about people, it's about presence, it's about managing energies. You've truly left us caffeinated with clarity. And to our listeners, if today's episode makes you smile, think, or question that one policy in your office that doesn't make sense, then do remember the lessons that Harjeet has spoken about today. And remember, your career does not need to follow a straight line. Sometimes it's a little zig, a little zag, and signature, a signature Harjeet quote, one or two quotes to find your way or stories to find your way. Thank you, Harjeet. It's been a pleasure to have you on the episode, and I look forward to having you back again with us soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you to the audience for tuning in, and see you after 2 weeks with yet another exciting session with another power speaker. Keep growing, keep thriving.